We're getting ready to celebrate 50 years of Fordham women's basketball. And one of the ways we want to kick it off is connecting our former players with our current players. This first group is going to be Kaitlyn Downey, a junior captain, with one of our other captains who was part of our championship team in 2014, Danielle Padovano. They're going to tell you some of their favorite memories of Fordham.
All right. Awesome. It's funny, I was going to ask you about a question about, which I probably still will, what it's like in the COVID world, Zooming all day long. I was talking to some family the other day and they said you feel like you're always on Zoom, always chatting with people. So I guess my first question, after thanking you again for doing this, a player to player, it's always great being able to connect with people from the past, and especially you being so connected to our program year after year. It's something really special, and I know how important Fordham is to you, and I just wanted to reiterate how appreciative and thankful we are for you and your constant support. One of the questions we had for you to begin was COVID-19 brought a lot of new challenges for the work landscape. So what has it been like after Fordham, beginning your career, transitioning through this COVID-19 period, and what have you been up to?
Yeah. So to one of your first points, with still being connected to Fordham, I think it's my honor as well. And we had a lot of alumni who obviously over the years have supported me. And so it just kind of seemed like a natural thing that once I graduated, I'd still stay connected and continue to pass that torch on. Abigail's obviously was very connected even after she graduated. So I'm happy to continue that legacy that we have of all of our alumni being really supportive of each other. So start out with that. How have things been? Things have been good. It's obviously been a stressful couple months. We talk about it all the time internally and say that, like, personally and professionally, we've all gotten like a good lesson in crisis management and how to respond to the nuances that come with that and challenges and opportunities that come with that. For me at first, I work in sports entertainment, and for a while when sports stopped, it kind of seemed like the end of the world. There was not only nothing to watch, but there also wasn't necessarily anything for us to sell at that point. So I think that was kind of the initial shock. And for a really long time, uncertainty that came with that was, it kind of frightened and freaked out everyone. But since sports have resumed, it's obviously been great for our business, but personally also great for just my mental state and being able to escape the many Zoom meetings and work days, watching a baseball game, watching a basketball game. I think that's had an impact on a lot of people across the country. So it's really cool to kind of be in the industry to experience that, and to kind of hopefully help make some people's days in light of a lot of negativity in the world.
Right. No, absolutely. I couldn't agree more with having even the simple baseball game on or football game on, even if there's no one in the stands, it just makes all the difference.
It's definitely a different game, but yes,
yeah.
It's awesome.
You did a pretty good job with the sound. I was like, okay, maybe there are people in the stands, and then you get one cut and like empty stands. But, how has it been, or do you enjoy the transition of working from home via Zoom, or would you rather kind of be in that office setting?
I do enjoy working from home. It was definitely something that wasn't really considered beforehand. It just wasn't a thing. I work with a lot of salespeople, and the idea is you're on the streets on a daily basis and you're out visiting clients at meetings, at baseball games. And, I think it was just not necessarily something that was like in our normal business structure. But since obviously now everyone is forced to be remote, it's been pretty cool to see that we can still be productive and successful from home. Do I hope to return to an office one day? Yes, hopefully soon. Would miss my coworkers a lot, but overall, I think it's great to, have a balance at the end of the day.
All right, awesome. Well, another question I have is bringing it back to Fordham on campus, the good old days. What would you say is one of your favorite memories of all times? It could either be through basketball or just, in general campus life?
Yeah, wow, this is very hard. I would say my favorite memories are pretty much, all of my roommates over the 4 years were teammates. And I think that was something that I was talking to Khadijah the other day. We were together over the weekend and we were just reminiscing on how important our teammates were through the entire 4 years and how much we've grown and learned together. And I think it's pretty cool to be able to say that I have a group of women across the country or across the world, really, that, I have a connection with and will always have a connection with, just being their teammates and, being able to look back at all the fun times, the hard practices, the AAs, whatever, everything really. The trips during Thanksgiving, I think we all kind of look back and it's great being able to share those memories with so many great people.
Yeah, I would absolutely agree. I mean, for the first time, I of course, when we lived at Campbell, we lived with 4 other people. But now I live in Terra Nova. So I had 6 other roommates, and I'm back to living in a double lifestyle, which I never had. And I was kind of spoiled as a freshman and sophomore. So I totally understand just being with your teammates at all times. I mean, sometimes it's a little much. I'm like,
oh, yes,
it's for me right now. But it's amazing just being able to be around your teammates at all times. And they know you better than yourself sometimes. So just always
absolutely.
So another question I had was, what would you say is one of the greatest takeaways you had as a player playing basketball inside Rose Hill Gymnasium?
My favorite memory as a player. It's really hard because there are a lot. I guess just like generally everything that I learned about being a leader and being a teammate and being, a part of a winning program and what that takes and the pressures, but also the advantages. And, I think becoming a better person through that process. It's kind of funny looking back and thinking of myself as a freshman coming on campus and how shy I was. I'm sure if Coach is watching this, she would agree. The transition between the person that I became through basketball is something that I'll always be grateful for.
Right. And kind of going along the same lines, you and I both know Coach as a person. She's by far more than just a coach. She treats us like amazing people and sees us and wants the best for us when the ball stops dribbling eventually. So are there any notable like mottos or philosophies Coach has said in the past that have resonated with you today?
That's hard.
Probably a bunch that are just like,
yeah. Well, I don't know. I think like something that I definitely learned is making sure that wherever I go in life beyond basketball, I have people at those leadership levels and my coaches, my mentors, my bosses. It's so important to have them as people who want you to grow and are continuing to push you and are continuing to challenge you to get to that next level and whatever it is. And so if anything, just learning how valuable it is to have that support and someone who is willing to push you and someone who is willing to challenge you and help you get better and want you to get better, I think is something that, I would obviously encourage everyone as you continue beyond basketball, make sure that you have folks that are helping you get to those next levels.
Right. I know 4 years flies by pretty quickly. It's hard for me to believe that I'm already a junior. And I was like, wait, I was just a freshman being guided by like Mary Goulding and Lauren Holden. So I'm like, this is kind of crazy how time flies. But for you, what does it mean to be a part of this lifelong tradition of being a Ram and being part of the Ramley?
Yeah. I think, what does it mean? I think, my freshman year, and it all started with the teams just before me and the transitional phase to Coach Gately's era. We had a lot to prove a lot of the time. And so I think we almost have like a little bit of a chip on our shoulder knowing that we worked so hard. And, you could say that about every team, but I do think that there's something to say of like proving our role in the conference and proving our role in all of women's basketball, I think, is something that I'm always proud of, and I'm always obviously looking for the teams after me to continue and to exceed. So I think, before I joined or when I was being recruited, they were on the bottom of the conference. And now I would say we compete for the highest levels in the conference almost every year. And so seeing that transition and being a part of that and being able to be proud of that, I think is something that I'm probably most proud of to be a Ram.
Awesome. And my final question for you is, obviously 4 years flies by pretty quickly and you learn a bunch of new things about yourself and just being part of a team. What would you say is the greatest advice you would share with an incoming college athlete or a college athlete already in the process?
Biggest advice I would share. I would say it's probably just like continuing to focus on the process, and that, we all come in having a lot of goals personally, professionally, academically, athletically. And I think that, being able to focus on the process and realize that it literally is getting better one day at a time. You're not necessarily going to get there immediately, and you have to be comfortable with that, and you have to be willing to go through, the practices you don't want to go through, and the the summer workouts that are hard and tiring, and, all of the hard work in the classroom, staying up late when you are coming home from games and have a class early the next morning. I think, it's sometimes easy to get lost in those moments while they're happening and while they're hard and difficult, but you'll realize that once you get through them, there's really not much that will hold you back. So I would just say to continue to focus on the process, and as you get better day by day, you'll definitely come out of it stronger and wiser.
Awesome. Well, great advice, of course. And I think we all can take away so much from this little discussion we had here. But again, I just wanted to reiterate, thank you for being an incredible alumni for our program. 50 years done and dusted, hoping to see 50 more years of great success and building the tradition that Coach Gately has laid out for us. And I'm so glad to connect with someone that was so important to that success and creating this culture that we have today. So thanks for your time, and hope to see you in some format at a game soon this year.
I know, me too. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Danielle.